because they have the means to hijack debates, quickly mobilize support, and fuel controversies in the media. On the other hand, nobody hears what the silent majority has to say, even if they are the ones paying the bill. So there is a fundamental imbalance in political debates. On one side, you have concentrated benefits to special interest groups who have a strong incentive to do their lobbying. And on the other side, you have dispersed costs that fall on society at large. That's how government grows and grows. And that's how we become less and less free and more dependent on government. So, what should we do as conservatives to reverse this trend? One way to change the terms of the debate would be to announce that the government is not going to grow anymore. I know that we are going to some very difficult and tough economic circumstances, and that this is not a realistic proposal for the coming budget. But let's try a thought experiment. Last year, the federal government's total expenses were about $250 billion. You can do a lot of things with $250 billion. And from an historical perspective, this is a gigantic amount of resources. What if we decided that this is more than enough, that expenses are not going to grow anymore? And I'm not saying zero growth adjusted for inflation and population or GDP increase, just zero growth. The overall budget is frozen at $250 billion. From now on, any government decision has to be taken within this budgetary constraint. Every new government program or increase in an existing program has to be balanced by a decrease somewhere else. We no longer have debates about how much more generous the government can be with this or that group, as if the money belonged to the government instead of taxpayers. The silent majority's interests are always being protected. The focus of the debate is shifting to a determination of priorities. What are the most important tasks for the government to achieve with the money we have? Is this government function really important? And should we have more of it? Then what then should we do less or stop doing and leave in the hands of the free market, voluntary organization, and individual citizen? That would be quite a change, yeah. Don't you think? I think it would be a very big change for our country. But a commitment to zero budget growth could become a powerful symbol of fiscal conservatism, just like the no deficit consensus was to some extent until the advent of the global economic crisis. But the consequences would be much deeper. It would mean that every year the relative size of the government would be smaller. It will force politicians, bureaucrats, lobbyists, and everybody else to stop thinking that your salaries are just there to grab for their own benefit. And because of the budgetary constraint, Canadians will have a lot more confidence that we're not wasting their money. So we have to convince people We have to convince them that we're not simply aiming to be better managers of a bigger government. We are aiming to be better managers of a smaller government. There is a large constituency out there for these small government principles, but because there are no lobbies to defend them, they get lost in the debates. We have to act as the lobby of the silent majority. The silent majority who are tired of working to pay for special interests. The silent majority who are dismayed at seeing their freedom curtailed at every turn. The silent majority who are losing hope that life will get better for them and their children. It is not always possible, of course. There are political realities that cannot be overlooked. But being pragmatic is not enough. In the long run, there are political gains to be made by telling people the hard truth, and not just what they want to hear or what is politically correct, and not just telling it, doing it too. We have to justify our actions on the basis of these principles. And when I was industry minister, Michel's know that, I was asked to support a new tariff on bicycle. There was a big Canadian manufacturer, bicycle manufacturer that could not compete with bicycles made in Asia and threatened to lay off workers. So, in order to save over 100 jobs, the solution was to force all those young Canadians buying a new bicycles to pay $67 more.